Are you letting your ego win? Are you letting the ego win? So I was on a training today with my warrior brothers, Wake Up Warrior, and there was an interaction with the trainer who is in Hawaii and a guy locally, I don't know where he's from, we'll just say the mainland, right? The mainland. And it was interesting watching this interaction. And there was a lot of ego involved on all parties, on both sides. And I was just sitting there like watching this go down. And I finally got to the point where I was like, come on, everybody shut the hell up and let's move on because there's better things to do with our time. And then we did a breakout session. And I was in the breakout session with the trainer, and we had a couple other guys that really had some amazing things to talk about. And really it came down to commitment. And the trainer had asked me, he goes, Taylor, it was my turn. Everybody else went first or went before me, and then I went next. And he goes, Taylor, what did you see? And I go, it seemed like there was a lot of ego in this interaction. And it's funny, it's the funny thing about the ego is it tries to prove you right. It tries to make you feel good about being right. And that's a lesson that I've been learning over the last few years of just dealing with my life and the things that have come up for me personally, right? But the funny thing is, it tries to make you right by proving that your actions were the correct actions, and then you walk away like, yeah, I won, that's me, I did it, and that's great. But the thing that the ego doesn't tell you is you actually might have lost. And the reason for that is because when you actually step back and can see that this isn't a win or lose, it is a learning and growing and expansion game. And within that game, you really understand that when you walk away as, oh, I won that argument, or I won this battle, or this. And I'm not saying that there aren't times, especially if you're in a competitive environment, that winning is the wrong thing. It's when the ego flares up to the point that you can't learn. It's where the ego flares up and blocks all the possibility of you actually expanding as a human being, and then shows to you why you were right for puffing up your chest and being egoic and trying to win the battle, right? Because the ego is always trying to make you feel better about yourself. And instead of stepping back and saying, you know what I'm going to do is I'm not even going to try to win this battle. I'm just going to learn. I'm going to step back and I'm going to observe and see what comes up and see if I can actually learn, grow, and expand myself, right? My capacity, my mental awareness, whatever it might be. And so sitting there and watching that occur, it was really interesting because what I observed was these two very powerful men going back and forth. And finally, one has to break the other's frame so learning can occur. And it's interesting watching that, especially two like really powerful, dynamic men that are here to figure out how to become better in body, in the connection with the source, God, in the connection with their relationships, with their partners, children, business, colleagues, friends, whatever it might be, and ultimately in their business. But for me, this journey that I've been on for probably about 3 years, but more specifically about 18 months, and more specifically to that specificity is like the last 4 months, and more specifically to that is like the last 6 weeks, is that, like, come on, like, winning is important. Don't get me wrong. Don't come at me saying that winning is like super important, because I know that, right? In the land of participation trophies, right? Winning is important, but at what cost? And I think that's the question, right? Is winning is like, I love winning. And more importantly, I kind of hate losing. But at what cost, right? And Garrett, the guy that runs Wake Up Warrior, talks about it all the time. He goes, you can be right or you can be rich. You can be right or you can be loved. You can be right, or you can be connected with the source. You can be right, or whatever it might be, fill in the blank, right? And so he goes, wouldn't you rather look foolish and be like super wealthy because you've done Facebook Lives every single day for however long? So there was a point that I did a Facebook Live this year, just a few months ago, from May 26th, I believe, to like July 10th, July 12th, July 19th. I can't remember when our last production workshop was, but it was almost 2 full months. And some people watch, some people don't. But you know what? The thing is, it's not about that. It's about me becoming better. It's about me making a commitment to something and sticking to it and becoming better at what I am doing, because I am doing it over and over and over and over and over again, right? So he used the example of, if you were at a conference and one of the speakers couldn't speak and they're like, Taylor, you are going to talk, and you're going to talk for the next 20 minutes on said subject, could you do it? So one of the things that we talked about is like, look, making videos is easy when you can cut it and edit it and then like repurpose it and like stick it together and splice it and make it look all fancy. That's great. I mean, it is. It's amazing. If you're even good at just doing regular videos, awesome. But people that can do regular videos can't necessarily do a live, right? But if you can do a live, you can do any video. Because the thing is, you can't redo this. Like me right now talking to you, I can't go back and be like, oh, cut, edit, snip, back, shit, cut that out, redo it, put on different makeup, do my hair differently. Like none of that. P.S. I'm not wearing makeup. I'm just throwing out that example. But what I'm saying is this is like, the pressure of being able to do a Facebook Live makes you a better human being. It makes you quicker on your feet. It makes you understand the pressure that is really self-imposed. Like just, all I'm doing is talking to that camera. I'm just talking to that camera. And as you start doing more and more of these Facebook Lives, you truly understand that there is a way to do them that gets really good. You bring value to the marketplace. You bring vulnerability. You are being authentic, right? So a good friend of mine and I were doing some stuff with the law of assumption and self-concept. And really self-concept is just identity. And at the very beginning of this year, I was on a hot seat in this warrior program, and Garrett had said, Taylor, you just need to shift your identity. And I'm like, what does that mean? And finally, about 6 months after I did that hot seat, I'm realizing what that means. I'm really shifting my identity. Like you guys might have noticed, like my energy has been off a little bit for the last few months, but I'm just regaining the clarity and the confidence and the courage and the compassion and the connectedness to be able to do this in a way that like, I don't care. I just don't care, because I'm so confident in who I am, my self-concept, in my self-confidence. Like if nobody watches this, who gives a shit? I give 0 Fs, right? However, what I want to do is I want to create a platform where my message is so strong and so succinct that it actually affects and touches the lives of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, right? So with that, how do you do that? Well, you do this over and over and over again. It's called reps, right? You continue getting reps and figure your voice out. Like you start understanding, not your physical, like audible voice, but maybe that too. But really when you figure out your voice, it's like, how are you messaging? Like, what is your energy? What does this look like? How does it sound? What is coming across? Like, what are you trying to convey? What is happening? Like, that is your voice. You're figuring out your voice in the marketplace, or just as friends, or whoever it might be. You're figuring out your voice to share this message that could impact so many people in the world. It could impact 0 people in the world too, right? But you won't know that until you start it and continue on and figure out what your voice is. Like, what is the marketplace? What are you doing? How is it coming across? And what does that mean? But the thing is, when the ego gets in the way, a lot of that can't happen, or it takes way longer. So what can you do today to push your ego to the side? Oh, give her an elbow to the face or the neck or the jaw, right? So my question to you really is this, is like, where do you notice right now in your life that the ego is getting in the way? And how can you understand that the ego is there to protect you? And you can thank the ego, be like, hey, you know what? Thanks for doing that. However, I just want you to understand, I got this. And although that has worked in the past, I no longer need you to do that for me in the future or the present. So thank you so much. I've got this, and I appreciate you, and I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful that you got me here. Thank you. I'm going to take the baton from you and move on to the next phase. So with that said, my friends, I hope you're doing so well. I made a commitment to do this live today based on our meeting earlier, and I knew that I would keep this commitment because I've done literally thousands of Facebook lives or lives, and they have been awesome, and I love it, and I convey the message. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much, and I just hope that one person, even if just one single person, gets the message that, you know what, your ego is important because it's gotten you here, it's protected you, and it's gotten you here. However, the next phase of where you want to go doesn't necessarily require that. Consider that, my friends. Let me know, and I will see you soon.